Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. This time we have Sean's list, which took first place at the Birmingham WCQ over the last weekend, and a really cool Gemini FTK list. Pretty standard in terms of main and extra, but we got this interesting side deck, and obviously we have the usual siding strategy and tournament report coming in from Sean as well. So I'm just going to breeze through the list itself and then we'll move ahead. So triple Block Dragon, double Crystal Rose, one Armadillo, triple Lazuli, triple Obsidian, triple Rabbit, triple Lapis, triple Tourmaline gives you the better extra deck monster than if you play Garnet, triple Brilliant Fusion, two Cold Weather Grave, one Card Destruction, triple Drag Down, one Foolish Burial, triple Gemini Fusion, triple Pot of Desires, and a triple Unexpected Die. Just get that extra monster out onto the field and make your link plays. For the extra, one Lady Brilliant Diamond, two Lapis Lazuli, one Master Diamond, one Prismora, one Seraphonite, and one Zirconia. Then a Curious to help with your combos, two Phantom Quartz, one Phoenix, one Unicorn, one Link Spider, one Mrs. Radiant, and one Proxy Dragon, also necessary for the modern combos there. Then a triple Pancratops in the side alongside triple Droll and Lockbird, triple Book of Eclipse, triple Twisters, and triple Red Reboot, so some level of surety about what he wanted to side in here. No two ofs, all three ofs. So that is it for the list itself. Let's get on to the siding strategy and the rounds. So we have a sort of what the cards within the side deck were intended for. So triple Droll and Lockbird was intended for Danger FTK or Gemini FTK. The Dino Wrestler Pancratops was intended for Floodgates, etc. It's an Earth that can be used to make Curious as well, and it clears Gozen, Rivalry, Erupt, and Skill Drain, all of those problem cards. Triple Book of Eclipse was for Thunder Dragons, of course. The Twin Twisters were for Sky Striker or Draco or Altergeist, Paleo or Trickstar, so a lot of options that you can bring men against in this format. And then the reboots were just for Draco, Altergeist, Paleo, and Trickstar. So that's everything that was coming in at different points, and then we actually have a description of what was going in and what was going out within his rounds. So round 1, played against Mech Knight Invoked and went 1-1. No siding needed for this. Round 2 against Thunder Dragons went 2-1. Games 2 and 3, 3 Book of Eclipse went in for Card Destruction, 1 Desires, and the Gem Armadillo. Round 3 against Trickstar, he went 2-1. The siding here, he put in the 3 Red Reboots and the 2 Twins in order, and took out the Card Destruction, 3 Desires, and 1 Gem Armadillo. Then round 4 against Sky Striker, he went 2-0. A pretty easy matchup for them, I think, because they can just establish so many monsters. So 2 Twins coming in and taking out the Card Destruction and 1 Desires. And then round 5 against Trickstar, going 2-1. Same siding as with round 3. And then round 6 against BA, game 2, he sided in 1 Book of Eclipse for the Card Destruction. Obviously you don't want to resolve Card Destruction against an opponent playing BA, to be honest. As for changes, immediate changes that he would make, 1 Card Destruction would go out, alongside the Armadillo and 1 of the Pot of Desires for 3 Into the Void. And within the extra, he would take out the Nightmare Phoenix for a Borrelsword Dragon, just to get those OTKs and that pressure applied. So now let's bring on Sean and ask him some questions about the list and the event. Alright Sean, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about the event?
The event was great. Playing FTK never makes you the most liked person in the room, but both the shop, the judges, and the players were really friendly and nice to be around. Yeah, they had like a cafe and stuff, which was really cool, so I'd recommend going there.
Nice, that sounds like a really good setup. Why don't you tell us about why you decided to play Gemini FTK for this event?
I played Gemini FTK because basically the theory was play FTK or get FTK'd. Despite the Danger FTK being more popular, I didn't have access to like the expensive Danger cards because I'm a student. And despite like most hand traps being like super effective against all the FTKs, a lot of people were playing Cherries and Droll, and Cherries in particular, but Droll depending, isn't very effective against Gem Knights, so I thought hopefully people just aren't playing the other ones because of that Azathoth card that you play in Danger FTK. And it turned out no one had the correct hand traps for Gem Knights, so yeah, it was the right decision.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of breezed through there because you don't have to worry about those particular hand traps. So I've already actually mentioned this to the viewers, but the main and the extra look pretty standard, to be honest. But I just wanted to know, do you think the Armadillo is entirely necessary, and would you be keeping it in the future?
Yeah, my list was like super standard. It was essentially based off Vlad's top 32 at YCS London. That was like the template, and then I just moved things around. I wouldn't play Armadillo in the future. It was like super annoying. The only reason you play it is because if you have both Crystal Roses not in your deck, then you have to like search it off the Block Dragon.
Okay, so it's kind of like a contingency card.
It never came up, and I'm pretty sure if you're searching up and doing it when you're losing, so at that point it's whatever.
But yeah, it ultimately doesn't help you out too much. So we've actually seen a few variations of the Gemini FTK in the past, especially since the changes to the ban list. So obviously people have been trying out different loops and things. Would you consider the synchro stuff in order to loop back the Master Diamond, or were you pretty happy with the way that the list is in its current form?
I wouldn't play the synchro stuff in the future, just because it requires you to get to Glow Bulb, and the idea is you make Curious or you send it off the one-off Foolish Barrow in your deck. And whenever you want to make Curious, it's to send Block Dragon because you don't have access to it via your hand or via having Brilliant Fusion. And the extra deck is like super tight already, so adding a Cloud Castle and whatever else you may need probably wouldn't work out, so I just avoided it, and it turned out it was fine.
Yeah, it sounds like you can get away without actually adding in that extra stuff anyway. It's kind of unnecessary. Moving on to the side deck then, how did you find the Pancratops?
Pancratops in the side, the theory is you summon it going second and you make it Curious because it's an Earth, or you out Floodgates, but it was only in like matchups like Paleo and Overgeist, and I just didn't play any of them, so it never came in. And like the main deck space is super tight, so I can't really just throw things in. Yeah, never used it, but the theory's there. I'd side it again just in case.
Yeah, okay, it's always nice to have it there. And as for the hand traps then, did you feel that you were comfortable with only the 3 hand traps that are really effective against the Danger FTK in the side?
I only used Roll against the FTK because I didn't have access to impermanences because they're crazy expensive at the moment, and aside from Cherries, which I didn't have the extra deck space for, Draw was like the only effective one if they're going to make the Azathoth first. I never played the FTK, but it would have come in if I was playing it. Draw also came in against Sky Striker at one point, and it was effective in stopping him from going off and like resolve engage 10 times, so I guess that was fine.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that you have the ability to just side in the draw for a few other matchups as well. Okay, so a very standard question for the series. What are the hardest and easiest matchups for this deck?
The hardest matchup is probably Trickstar. I played it twice and 2-1'd it. I won the roll, luckily, but they have loads of space for hand traps. They tend to play like 9. And Reincarnation is really annoying. When you search off the Block Dragon, they tend to Reincarnation you, and then you're just kind of losing at that point because you're so far behind. Yeah, and then the easiest matchup is probably Sky Striker. That deck's awful. It doesn't play a lot of hand traps, so if you win the roll, you're super far ahead already. And then going second, even if they have Ray to float into, this deck just creates loads of big monsters, so they just get OTK super easy, even for an anchor. So yeah, Sky was like super free. I 2-0'd that, and like in testing, I just kind of never lost to it.
Yeah, I guess you can just sort of pump out really big monsters and just punch over everything that they have and keep going with more and more cards every single turn. Are there any changes that you would make to this list?
I would make some changes. In the car on the way back, Tim said to me, "Why aren't you playing Into the Void?" And I was like, "Doesn't that thing like stop you from special summoning?" And he was like, "No, it's not Demise." I was like, "Oh, I'll play that." So I'd probably cut Desires and Card Destruction and Armadillo, as said earlier. Desires was like, you don't want to draw in multiples. I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I will, so I just won't end up playing that. And Card Destruction is not as good as like I thought it would be. Like blind card destructioning, it gives you an idea what you're playing against, and it can like give you a good new hand. But there was a fair bit of BA, and obviously the Danger FTK, they kind of plus off you putting all their stuff in the grave. So I probably wouldn't do that in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of risky format to be maining card destruction just at the moment. It's a great card, but maybe not right now. So are there any shout-outs that you want to make?
Shout outs, there's a few. So Tim Cox, and he's eBayed the GOAT cards. He sorted me out like loads of things to like lend me. It was like the only reason I'm good at Yu-Gi-Oh. So yeah, check out his eBay.
Yeah, will do.
And then shout out to like all the lads for coming down, and Ollie in particular for driving me, or us. And then I guess I should not forget to shout out my girlfriend. She's always putting me out playing Yu-Gi-Oh, so yeah, it's great too.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for coming on, Sean, and showing us your list. It's really great to see Gemini FTK being piloted well within the UK, and on top of it being well done in Ireland. Congratulations on getting first place at Birmingham, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.